We have a very special guest today. We have Venkat Manohar Reddy Tippana, who is from the US. He is part of Nationwide Advisory Solutions. Is that right?
Yep.
And he is part of managing the critical financial systems of a Fortune 100 company. And he specializes in a lot of different things with regards to technology and finance. 23 years of IT experience in Oracle Technologies, 21 years of business experience in the insurance industry, and 18 years of management experience in the financial industry. So you have a gist of the guest, of his background, his work. So firstly, thank you so much for making it here at AVBS.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a privilege that you spend a few days always in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And somehow you manage to make some time for us. So it does mean a lot.
Thanks for having me. It's a great honor, and your school is doing great, and I love the energy that the students bring. So it's always good to have him come here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'd really like to understand, like, just going back, like, just your background. How was it like growing up in India, and how was family, and how was the whole education experience? How has that made an impact on what you do today and your life in the US?
Great. So maybe just like a background for myself. My dad was in Ministry of Water Resources, right? So my parents moved to Delhi back in early 60s, before the war. And so all my siblings, myself, we were born and brought up in Delhi. So till 12th grade, I was in Delhi. I'm a product of Kendriya Vidyalaya as well as Siddha Patel Vidyalaya. SPV is one of the top 5 schools in India. And a lot of I think the education, both elementary, middle school, high school, that helped a lot with like how I do things day to day, right? I think we think only it's the graduation or the post graduation, but I think that the schooling also helps a lot. What we learn from the teachers, the punctuality, the discipline. So I think that adds a lot. Growing up, and definitely the parents, right? They help a lot being in Delhi, that exposure that you get, right? That I think our school was the first one to even introduce computer courses back in high school itself. That was in I finished my 12th in '95, right? So we were like really new, and our principal was awesome. She's a chairperson of National Commission for Women. So we had a really good team there. And then afterwards, I came to Kakinada, JNT Kakinada. I went to from 95 to 99, did my engineering there. And after that, went to US for my master's.
And would you say that right after your master's, you decided, okay, this is it, I'm going to stay in the US and work here?
So initially, of course, every time we think, oh yeah, let's do masters, let's get some experience, and maybe then think about what to do, right? I think in my masters, what happened, Ajitesh, is so I went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois. It's been that's in that town. You have Bradley and Caterpillar. Caterpillar is like a Fortune 50 company, heavy metal engineering and all. So a lot of collaboration was there, and there we had like a really good teachers. I mean, it's again like I stress on teachers a lot, because those are the ones who kind of like mold the students, right, in their life and career. So I had a really good teacher, Martin Mascarenac, who went to MIT, product of WisMad, Wisconsin-Madison, and he ingrained the love for databases for me. So I became like a database kind of junkie. So that started my IT journey there. So started with my DBA initial career, and then slowly this company was just starting, called Jefferson National, and I was part of the founders, like 13 people total. And with a good top brass of XC of E-Trade, Mitch Kaplan, XC of Goldman Sachs, Eric Schwartz, and a nice team that we had, David Lau, I mean, it was amazing journey, and we sold the company to Nationwide back in 2016, and that's how we became Nationwide Advisory Solutions. So in reality now, like I'm still with Nationwide, and it's a Fortune 100 company. We're the top 5 insurers, and it's almost like it's an awesome journey. I've been with the company for like 21 years now, so getting quite old.
Brilliant. I mean, you spoke about Nationwide, and I mean, you are in the fintech space, but you know, for a layman, for a person who doesn't understand any of this, if you had to like simplify what you do, what is it that you do?
Yeah, okay. So Nationwide is a huge, I mean, it's an awesome company. The culture, the mission that we have, it's awesome. The people that we have. So within Nationwide Enterprise, you have the P&C vertical, the property and casualty, where you have auto, home, specialty insurance. And then we have the Nationwide Financial vertical, where you have Annuity, mutual funds, and life, as well as retirements. So I fall in the Annuity space. So within Annuities, what we do is I'm an app owner. So basically, I manage the admin systems, which we use for both pre-sales as well as post-sales. So what we do is like we give a platform to the advisors who sell annuities to the clients. And what we do is we take pride in it, right? Because Nationwide, it's a 100+ year company, and it's at the end of the day, we want to give you good experience, making sure your retirement savings, you're getting closer to retirement, or you have retired, and what's the best way to kind of like make financial independence, so that you make a good select good financial instruments to go with.
And you just mentioned that you've been with the company for over 20 years.
Yep.
I think it's 21 years this year.
Yep.
So, you know, not a lot of people have that on their resume.
Yeah.
What factors contributed to you being there for so long, and what is it that really made you stay there for that long?
So I would say education, like, it's we started as like a small entrepreneur shop, right, and became like part of the big Nationwide ship. I think it's all about the people, Ajitesh, because if you have like a good set of people in your team, again, always have people who are not yes mans,
Yeah.
people who like have constructive criticism, have good arguments, like you should not just go yes. What the leader says, it's not the right way, right? So we have like really good, talented folks, and also you have to, it goes vice versa, right? You need to make sure you're being a leader. You have to lead them in a nicer way. Good leaders even take blame on themselves, even something bad happens, right? That's the good leadership quality. Emotional intelligence, empathy. Empathy is really big. And we do, Nationwide not only stands for the financial instruments, being stable, AAA rating, but also, we do so much of charity work, like when volunteering at the food banks. We do blood drives. We have a blood drive donation center within the building itself. So constantly people keep coming. We have our own Nationwide Children's Hospital, fully funded by Nationwide, and a lot of other things that we do, like we do golf scramble and all. I think we have done like millions of food packets for the Hungry initiative, the hunger initiative that we have. So I think it's not just the numbers, it's not just the top line and bottom line, like the CFO says.
Correct.
But all these extra things that we do, whether it's like LGBT, whether it's any kind of like parades that we have, inclusiveness, diversity, all that we take really seriously. And that helps a lot. Like the culture, it's all about the culture, right? If you see that culture, people don't leave. So we have people in our company who have been there for like 40, 45 years. Their kids are there, their grandkids are there. So it's like crazy. Like a big spread of people. It's they tend not to leave. So
yeah, because when you say things like insurance, fintech, you usually associate everything with just pure numbers.
Exactly.
And I guess like what you just mentioned, that kind of humanizes the whole thing, and we're not just about numbers. We do all these other things, and we are about people too.
Example benefits is good, but if you do like a blood drive, you get a half day off.
Okay.
Right. Some perks, it's or even you can do like we do. You go to St. John's in Louisville, try to fix houses for the poor. You get to some days off to your PTO, right? So all that you're not only getting the benefits, you're not getting the perks, but satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
When that you're doing something good on company's time, right?
Correct.
So it's an awesome, right? That's a double dip.
Yeah. And in terms of, the financial sector, it has a lot of regulations that's, constantly being changed every now and then. How do you stay updated with those regulations and those trends? And, what kind of factors go into the decision-making process?
That's a great question, Ajay. I mean, because as you know, insurance in US, we are heavily regulated.
Yeah.
Whether it's FINRA, whether it's SEC, whether it's a lot of those states, because we're domiciled in Dallas for advisory. We have constant, auditings from the state itself, from the SEC people. Even we have external auditors that we use, like it's E&Y, whether it's any of the other auditors. And we have our own internal auditing team also.
Okay.
So we try to make sure that before even the external auditors are coming in, we try to make sure all our processes are good. We are following the regulations properly, and there's no gap. And if there's any gap, we'll try to make sure before any finding comes in, we try to kind of clean that up, mitigate any risk mitigation. Especially these days, we have so much of cyber security issues in the world, especially in the fintech world. So we always take it really seriously. That's always the top. So especially I report to Rick Schneer. I mean, he kind of talks about the pyramid. He says always the top should be your any kind of CSOC issues, cybersecurity issues, right? Then comes your day-to-day operations. Then comes your capability uplift. Then comes your nice to have things, right? So honestly, you go with that, make sure because you don't want to end up on the paper, right? Wall Street Journal saying, oh, there's been breach happen or ransomware happen.
Correct.
So we take our CSOC very serious. We have an awesome team, our cybersecurity team, and they always our CISO, Todd Lukens. I mean, he does a great job kind of maintaining that, making sure all our apps are up to date, making sure we don't have any vulnerabilities. So security and vulnerability is so big these days.
Correct.
We have a lot of automated scans that happen throughout. We use lots of tools, whether it's Qualys, Contrast, you name it. I mean, because developers will create a lot of stuff, right? But you need to make sure it's all in tandem. They're all up to date, and you don't have any gaps. Because ultimately, you want to be proactive, right, instead of reactive.
Correct. So, I mean, I'm trying to relate this to higher education. So we have something called IQAC, which is our internal quality auditing kind of a system.
Yep.
So I'm guessing your internal auditing is done through this. And do everything have to be reported to this before getting it processed for,
Yeah. So what they do is they follow the standard regulations. We have a set of things. We call it controls, right?
Okay.
And the IA team, the internal audit team, will go through all the different departments, right? I have annuities. We have I'm part of annuities, and we have other teams like retirements or investments. So they go really. If your app is an FRC app, when I say FRC means financial regulatory controls, those are the apps which are more critical, kind of critical business process. So those are checked every quarter on a quarterly basis. And they make sure, the internal auditors make sure, hey, are you following the right processes? All the scans are running. Show me the results.
Got it.
If some issue happened, what was your reaction? How you solved it? All that stuff. And again, that gets shared with the external auditors as well, to make sure we are all there are no gaps, there are no exposure kind of to the outside loopholes that can potentially create some issues later on.
True, because it's probably more relevant in your industry than any other industry.
Exactly.
You can't just take it casually. So talking about all of this, I just remembered how are you using AI and other tools in fintech?
There's AI is like a buzzword right these days, and especially with ChatGPT that has put in forefront. So when it comes to AI, in a lot of our teams, again, it's new for our enterprise also, but we have been kind of using a lot of relevant tools in our new business process. For example, we have been looking at NIGO, we call it. It's not in good order. let's say like a new business application comes in, it may have a lot of bad data or missing data.
Yeah.
That may take you like a couple of weeks to kind of fix it, right? That slows you down. So what can we do in the beginning itself? Can we take care of that initially while it's being filled by the advisor with the client? So we have tools like, we are kind of like developing more and more tools. Underwriting is another use case that we can definitely look at. Even with, like let's say somebody calls, makes a phone call, we use a lot of tools like whether it's like Kayak or whether it's like a Ping Identity, where basically we are kind of even looking at the voice recognition to make sure it's not fraud.
Yeah.
So those are very, very important, right? Because, or even let's say if any of the caller calls and says he wants to do a withdrawal, but if there was a recent address change, maybe that's like something wrong, so it's a red flag. So how will you create those red flags while I'm on the phone talking to the client? So there are like so many use cases that we are still working on, but I think you have to be careful also, as you have seen a lot of issues that happen using the ChatGPT and other AI tools. Because the problem is that anything that you use, it may get consumed by it, and other people can also see it. So let's say what if one of the developers puts code in your generative AI tools? That's an IP, right? That's an intellectual property.
True.
You don't want to put that because somebody else may use it. Or we may use somebody else's code. That's also like an IP violation. So they can sue us, or it's litigation, right? A lot of litigations. So you have to be very careful, like all these tools, when you use it, how you're using it. So there needs to be a governance.
Yeah.
So you have a governance team for all the AI tools, and we have like a really nice for infrastructure team that have a TSB process. They go through strict approval process. Any tool we get, any new tool that we go for. So let's like try to see if it's if the tool is kosher or not.
Okay, and in terms of so you've had quite a long career in Nationwide, and you've done a lot of work in other companies like Oracle. So could you explain, or probably, I don't know, if you have an anecdote of a challenge or an obstacle that you faced, and how did you like really mitigate that, and how is it like handling such an issue? If you could throw some example or something.
I would say like the recent biggest project that we did was, so we have right now like a data center in Louisville, in Atlanta, and with the merger with Nationwide, we had to kind of combine that and kind of move all of our assets to the enterprise in Columbus data center north and east. So that was a huge project. It was almost like a year-long project, and luckily, all our assets were all virtualized. So it was, and some of them were moved to cloud. We wanted to move as many apps to the cloud as possible. We use AWS. We use Azure also, other platforms, but mostly AWS. So we were able to move cloud disposition. We did a lot of cloud disposition of the apps. All the leftover virtual machines we had to move to Columbus, and that took a while because I think the challenge there was conflicting IPs. IP addresses and all, so that was kind of like slowing us down.
Okay.
But again, my team, I love my team. As I said, like it's a very great team that I have, and even the infrastructure team in Columbus, they helped us a lot. And there were challenges with whether it's IP, whether it's firewalls, because basically you're moving, quite a few components from a data center from one physical location to other location, right? So, and over a weekend. When we do the cutover, it has to be done over the weekend within a few hours, because you don't want the website to be down for a long time, right? Or you don't want the admin systems to be down, because that may affect not the internal associates, the call center, but the external people who belong to the website. So that was a big challenge to kind of like shut that down, cut it over, and move all these virtual assets to a different location, so within a timely manner.
So you were able to do it in time, or did you face some downtime with the whole thing?
We always like do our maintenance on the weekends, usually it's Saturday nights, right? From Saturday midnight to Sunday morning. So that's what we target. Sometimes it may go, of course, we always have, with this big move, there were a few challenges, but I think the team did an awesome job. Again, it's not like a one-man show, Ajitesh, because the team helps a lot, and it's like a team culture, right? So that's each and every one like kind of like takes pride in that.
So you just mentioned team. So my next question is related to collaboration. How does your team and the other teams collaborate, and how does creativity and innovation come out of your company?
It's a great question. So like what we have is we have matrix reporting when it comes to team. Like let's say I have my technology team, right, for advisory technology. So I lead not only the Annuity advisory technology, but the claims, innovation, AI, ML, as well as even we recently started creating videos, wholesaler videos. So let's say the advisors can send customized videos to the clients or to other advisors to entice, make the sale. So we always use new tools like that. But being an app owner, I have I have 10 lines, about 10 agile lines. Each line consists of about 20 people.
Okay.
And it's a good mix. It's like a half and half, or 60%, 40%, 60% full-timers and 40% contractors. And what we do is that's the IT agile lines, right? But we also have embedded matrix. We have architects from the architecture team. We have the agile, the scrum masters, right?
Okay.
We call them agile leaders. They're also there. We also have infrastructure people who are also there within the same line, right? So even I own these lines, but we have other team members who are coming in. So what we do is we do it's a mixed. It's not like hey, I'm the single self-sufficient line that'll do everything, right? Because I may not know what's the newest thing in firewall technology or the VPN. Like we use Zscaler. What's the best thing? So when there's a COE, we have COEs, a Center of Excellence. There may be a team that does just on machine learning. There may be a team that's only doing purely the cloud infrastructure, right? So those teams come, help us, just consulting, right?
Okay.
Consulting, guide us, and then leave. And the line will take care of the implementation. And later on, after the production, they have to maintain that, right? And we own it from start to finish. Any downtime, anything, any batch processes, any real times, we do more and more of APIs.
Okay.
We deploy them on Apigee, and it's making all self-service so that, and we have a lot of partners, right? We have a lot of fintech partners we are deeply integrated with. Because at the end of the day, what the advisor wants is he or she wants everything in the same place. They don't want to go to 10 different insurance company websites. They don't want to call 10 different insurance companies' phone numbers, right?
Yeah.
They want everything to be on the same software, whatever they're using. Let's say they use the Schwab Portfolio Center. They want all their policies that they own, that they manage for the clients, to be updated overnight, and everything should be there, right? So that's what we do, and we do a lot of data feeds. We load a lot of real-time APIs. We are also big into event streaming. That's a new one that we have been doing. It's we use Confluent Kafka for event streaming, and a good use case for event streaming is when you use Uber and you see how that cab is moving on the map. That's all event streaming.
Oh, okay.
So it's how imagine let's say you start a company and you have just one asset right now. Then you buy more companies, so you are growing. Your company is growing. You have more and more assets, or more and more applications, and how to talk to each other. It becomes at the end of the maybe 5th year or 10th year, it's a big mess, right? Lots of integrations, lots of wires going here and there. Well, I'm just projecting how to clean that up, and that's where the event streaming comes into picture.
So event streaming, you call it event streaming? Event streaming,
yeah. Kafka is just one tool.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's why.
It's huge. I mean, so it was started by LinkedIn. They developed it, and now they have Apache Kafka. Okay. You have different concepts, but it's similar to messaging that we used to do with IBM MQ series and all. But I mean, it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can do a lot of things with that. It's kind of asynchronous, but it's still real time. It's still fast. But imagine you have all these people using Uber or Lyft, all these people trying to go to the app and see, hey, where my cab is, right? So the cabs are sending the streams back to the server. So you have a consumption, they're consuming one, and they're producers.
Yeah.
So it's a very good concept, and you can use it a lot.
And you were the chief architect of a 24/7, 365 trading annuity platform.
Yeah. So again, we take big pride in like kind of creating that. That was done from scratch from Jeffers National Days.
Okay.
It's a nationwideadvisory.com, and basically from mindset, like our CA wanted kind of to be a fintech platform where people can use it as if it's a E-Trade or a TD Ameritrade or a Charles Schwab. We can buy and sell stocks, right? Again, we don't do stocks, but we do annuities. So we have a platform where you as an advisor or you as a TPA or a broker dealer or a client can go in and you can say, hey, let me add, or let me like do a transfer, or let me set up a rebalance on a monthly basis automatically, and that should execute every time, right? Every month. Or maybe you can put some triggers, or maybe you can put some targets. So they use a lot, because ultimately, Ajitesh, what we want to do is self-service, right? Because if we use like call center, people calling us, that's going to slow down, right? Things. We want them to be self-service. They can go to the website. It's also mobile responsive on the tablets and all. So we want them to do themselves all the trades rather than them calling us. And we do T+1 trading, just like any other insurance company. We queue them up and then execute them in the night with the DTCC, and we have like a robust like integration with DTCC. Okay.
And what is DTCC?
So DTCC is like it's a depository trust corporation. Basically, there's two sisters actually. It's an NSCC and DTCC. So all the trades in US within the insurance world, insurance carriers, as well as the fund managers, right? All those trades get settled in the night as in a T+1 fashion through DTCC. They have the platform. It's kind of like a router basically, where you let's say you might be selling shares as an omnibus as an insurance company, and let's say you're selling shares for BlackRock Growth QSIM. That's the mutual fund that you're selling, and basically all that goes to DTCC and it goes to fund manager BlackRock, and they will approve it or deny it, but they take those trades and then they sell it in open market. So like that's how the settlements are done. So let's say client is asking to sell 100 units of BlackRock. There might be 10 clients, so we combine all those trades in the night as an insurance company and then go to BlackRock and liquidate it through DTCC.
Got it.
So all the trades that happen in the insurance world and a lot of brokerage world, they all go through DTCC. That's kind of the hub.
That's like the hub for everybody.
Yep. All the broker dealers, like whether it's Merrill Lynch, or LPL and all, or even the clearing houses like Pershing, NFS, which is from Fidelity, they all go through DTCC.
And can you probably share some of your products that you think are innovative or have been innovative that have done really well in the market?
Yeah, our star product in advisory especially, it's called Monument Advisor. And
what is it called?
Monument Advisor.
Monument Advisor, okay.
So we started that in 2005, 2006 time frame. It's a flat fee product, and it's still a variable annuity. But what we did is like it was a flat fee. We said, hey, no matter if you have an account value of $100 or $100 million, we're going to charge you $20 a month. That's it.
Okay.
$20 per month. That's what we're going to charge, and no rider fees, nothing. It's very transparent, and people loved it. And we went from like 200 million in the beginning to like now it's almost like 1.5 billion a year. That's just that single product, right? And people like it because you can see there's no like hidden fees inside it. I'm just charging you $20. The way we make is through revenue, right? Revenue sharing with the fund managers. That's how the company makes the money. Yeah. But I mean, at least you can see like there are no like rider fees, there are no like extra charges, and we are showing everything transparently to the people. Everything self-service. You can see, go to the website, you can see your bank account balance every day. Gets refreshed in the night with the nightly batch. So that was like such a good product, and we were the industry leaders, and that's why Nationwide bought us because we were the industry leaders in fee-based world. We were the shiny object.
Got it. And when it comes to collaboration with senior executives, like the chief financial officer or the chief marketing officer.
Mhm.
How do you develop and execute technology strategies that align with your overall business?
That's a great question, Ajdesh. I think what we do is like when we start with, we have each year we have our objectives, right? So and those objectives trickle from the top, from the EVPs, executive vice presidents. So we are part of the IT, the technology branch of it for Nationwide. So within the Nationwide technology, our CIO like Jim Fowler, he has created like a set of objectives, whether it's like API first, whether it's like automation, whether resiliency, making sure all your processes are resilient, then least amount of downtime, right? Least amount of like events or failures, and those objectives keep trickling down to the teams, and each leader keeps adding. So like from whether it's from Jim to Michael Carroll to Rick to me to my lines, right? So we add our own, like from advisory or from a claims that I lead, or maybe for AI ML that I lead, I may add some more on top of the base objectives that we have for the year. We also have initiatives, like we have tons of initiatives, new initiatives. We have been working on preferred partners with Edward Jones, Fidelity, and that has been like really having a really good sales. As you know, like last year was a very challenging year in the fintech world, but we still met our top line and bottom line because we have such a diverse set of products. So our variable side didn't do well, which because the market was like going down, but our fixed side, because the rates were going up, the fixed side boomed. It was a blast when we had so much of sales because the rates were up. Everyone wanted to get to the fixed annuities, which doesn't get affected by the market, what's happening in the market. And our clientele being close to retirement or after retirement, they prefer that, right? To be stable, to be secure, what their accounts are, account balances are.
And can you describe your experience in leading these large-scale technology transformation, or I don't know, you can call it digital initiatives in companies like yours in the financial organization? Because how do you manage to go with challenges associated with like implementing new projects or new aspects into different teams?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think agitation, if you see, like again, it's not like a one man or it's like a one team. We have multiple lines, multiple teams involved in all these initiatives. The recent most one even like that we did was the messaging, digital messaging, and that's where we used Kafka, the event streaming. That's again like it was new for us also, right? It's a brand new technology, and we were kind of using it for the first time. How you can send kind of texts from our systems to the financial advisors, or how they should be able to kind of stop those texts if they don't like too many texts coming to the phones. How do you kind of like maintain those preferences? So that was like a innovative option that we had, and we're looking at our innovation team. Again, it's a separate team that kind of looks at what's the industry trends, the tech trends that are happening, whether it's AI or the AI tools, how we can put governance, what are the pros and cons. We also invite, like the different, like Celent is a big one that we kind of use, who are kind of McKinseys of the insurance industry. They kind of like help us kind of like guide what's happening in this industry and where kind of we should put more emphasis on. That helps a lot.
And I just have one final question. What would you probably advise the younger generation, especially for the ones who want to get into what you're doing, which is more fintech, and where do they really start? Let's say a 21-year-old wants to do what you're doing 20 years down the line.
I would say this is a tough question, but I would say like agitation. I think it's being like a data junkie. I would say like always like stay close to the data, no matter what.
Stay closer to data.
Stay close to the data. Data is the new gold, right? Because again, this ChatGPT's AI tools, they will come and go, right? But ultimately, you as a company, you have tons of data. How you use it is your gain or loss, right? And each company have their own like tons of, and again, they don't want to share with other companies, right? So you have to be careful. But as long as you're closer to data, either data scientist or be in like the database concepts, or even apart from that, what about kind of creating associative patterns or kind of recognitions there, where basically you can say, let's say if a specific group of people are going for or buying into a specific fund, why is that? What's the association there? That area is growing a lot, and I think to be in the fintech world, either you can be in the programming side, on the IT side, or you can be on the data, being a data scientist, or you can even be on the project management side. The project management is still there. It's still, a lot of companies may have like kind of combined those things, but I think managing a project is also like very, very tough, because you have multiple teams, multiple lines, external teams, where you may not have control on the timelines. And timeline is always like a big, big pain, right? Pain point. How you can bring all these teams, because the teams may say, oh, we don't have time for this. Wait for 6 months and come back to us. Then what you do? Then you have to start with escalation. Maybe you do some like consultation and do some kind of adjustment, and they say, oh yeah, can you do it in 3 months instead of waiting for 6 months? So that's always like a challenge. I think especially for students like MBA students and all, I think that's a great place to start, whether it's project management, business analysis. We always need like technology analysts, we always need business analysts, because you want to bring multiple lines, talk to each other, collaborate with each other, because people may have different priorities, people may have different timelines or resources. Resources is a big one, right? So you also have the HR challenge there, because people may be retiring on a specific skill set. Do you have a proper bench that can fill those gaps? Or do you need to like outsource that, or you need to like near source that, or you need to, what's a mix? Do you want, like, I always believe in like a half and half full-timers and half contractors. I don't want to like give it like totally to like the contractors, because it's you need to have like a good bench. I need to have somebody I can call in the middle of the night saying something has failed, right? And you may have like time issue and time difference in different geographical locations. So always like we go for that, and I think it's even sky's the limit. If you are in those fields, it's things will change, but again, data is a king. As long as you like stay with the data, close to the data, you can be the king.
Amazing. I think that's some really good advice, especially, you've clearly given 3 different paths that you can still take and end up in the financial world, the fintech world. And I think if they start early, and like you said, make sure they're always closer to data. I don't think they should have any issues getting the right job.
Exactly. And they will love it, because you're creating something, right? It's not like you're just maintaining, or it's like kind of like boring or something, but it's always like you get new findings, new discoveries from, because you already own that data. You already have it maybe for 20, 30 years, right? You have tons of data. But people may not be using it in the right fashion, and once you use it, and you can do wonders. And that's what like Amazon does. That's what like Walmart does. And imagine like back when I was doing my thesis at Bradley, we used the Walmart data stores, and we just like trying to say, you get associative patterns saying, hey, when a person comes to the store, he buys a 6-pack beer and a diaper bag. So if that's a lot in a lot of places, what you do is you make sure the store people put diaper bags next to the Walmart 6-pack beer.
Makes sense,
right? So it's easier, and you get more sales. So that's why you need to get the patterns and see like what jives. What are your associations there? So it goes back to data mining, right? It's again, you don't need to be like a when you have so many tools these days to do those mining things, and you have R, you have a lot of Microsoft, or it's tools are tools. How you use it makes more sense.
True. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Very insightful talking to you, and glad you could make it to AVBS. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.